world, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Keely and I make book related content and have started on a new journey of working towards a PhD application, which I'm hoping will happen in the fall of 2024 so I can start in 2025, but life happens, so we will see. For this vlog, I would like to get a lot of reading done, which is the goal of every vlog, but I do have some actual goals, things that I want to do. I'm currently reading 4 of the 5 books that I have to show you guys for right now. You've seen all of these except for, I think, 1 or 2, because, well, and even those you've seen in previous book hauls if you've watched my other videos. But in case you don't know, the subject matter that I'm looking at is focused on East Asian societies, and I'm really looking from like a feminist lens of identity and white men who become obsessed and fetishize East Asian women and kind of the patriarchy and all kinds of stuff at play. I am working through a lot of questions, a lot of different potential topics as I move toward applying for a PhD. That would be probably in either, there's like 2 different programs I'm looking at. One is a Women and Gender Studies program that has an East Asian lens, and then the other one is a comparative literature dual PhD with East Asian Studies or Asian Studies. So I'm leaning now towards the Women and Gender Studies one because I feel like that one makes the most sense for me given my history. I have my bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in philosophy and a minor in Women and Gender Studies. And in undergrad, I did a lot of work with local communities and the local domestic violence agency and sexual violence agency to do fundraising and host some events on campus and stuff. And then in grad school, I was a social work student, so I have my master's in social work and continued to look at things through a feminist lens and study feminism. And then since that time, in the last 10 years, since I graduated, coming up on 10 years since I got my master's degree, I have been working in social services, specifically in victim services, but social services in general, as a social worker, but kind of not going to talk a ton about my role, but I have been able to support a lot of programs that do a lot for women and minorities and, well, for everyone, but using the traditional terminology of women, but I mean people who identify as women. But I think it makes the most sense to me then, since I consider myself a feminist, to then continue on with this work, continue on with this lens when it's like that's stuff I already read, stuff I already do, stuff I already agree with. So I think that might be the best way to go instead of doing specifically East Asian focus, primarily because of the language issue in that most PhD programs require you to have some level of proficiency in another language, which I don't have. I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and so I know some words in Spanish. I can sometimes figure out what you're saying. I can recognize if someone's speaking Spanish, but that's about it. And then I have been very, very like casually learning Japanese for over a year, or for 2 years. So again, very, very minimal. I can recognize some terms, some words, but that's about it. And so if I wanted to go through an East Asian program, they're very, very competitive, and it would be a huge lift for me to try to learn another language and get to the level of proficiency that I think they're looking for. So I am still going to do language work. I'm still going to try that, but I have taken a step back from feeling like I need to learn everything and to more of just like, why don't you just chill and read and learn on your own and see how it goes. Super long-winded. I am in the independent research phase. I don't know how long this will last. I'm hoping that I will stick with it and apply, like I said, in the fall. So the application dates are typically by the end of December, and then you start the following fall. So my goal would be, first goal will be to start fall of 2025. Second goal would be to apply fall of 2025 for a fall 2026 start. But I don't know. We will see how this ends up going. So the books that I hope to read and talk to you guys more about throughout this next week of reading is going to be In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. I have not read any more since I last mentioned that I was reading this one, so I'm still up to chapter 5. Still really, really enjoying this one. And this one is a nonfiction about Yeonmi Park's life in North Korea and then her escaping from North Korea and looking back at what is happening over there and comparing it to the United States and to China and to other places that she has lived. This one I think is the most popular of those memoirs. North Korea specifically, I mean. I have another memoir that I also would like to read this week because it is very short. This one is called Minor Feelings by Cathy Park Hong, An Asian American Reckoning. I am waiting for a book haul from Book Outlet that is a lot of books. Well, it's 4. I think 4 of the 5 books have to do with Asian America, and this is one that came out very recently, so it's one that I absolutely would love to read before I get those books. I think I have about a week before they get here, unless shipping updates really fast, so I want to get this one read. Then my progress with this one has halted because I haven't picked it up. I've been reading other things, but I really need to read some more chapters in The Making of Asian America because I am still at chapter 8. I have not picked it up since then, but I don't want to let this one fall by the wayside. I very much want to get back into this one. So this is a huge history of Asian America and how it got started way back in the day with emigration, immigration, slavery, all the things up until present day. So very much enjoying that one. And then for an edX course that I'm taking where we are reading 4 books from prominent Chinese authors, I talked a lot about and have already finished the first one, which was China in 10 Words by Yu Hua. And then also I looked it up. So I've been watching the videos now for the class for the sections on China in 10 Words, and the professor that's leading the class pronounces his name as Yu Hua. So I think that's it. I think I was saying Hua. I think it's Hua. And then this one is Lu Xin. I guess the X-U-N or X sound is sh. So I think it's Lu Xin instead of Lu Jun, which is what I was saying because I didn't know what I was doing. I finished that one. The next one then is Red Sorghum by Mo Yan, which I did start. I just sat outside for like 20 minutes and read the first 10 pages. And it's really interesting so far. I don't know what sorghum is. I know it is some kind of crop, but I don't know what it is. And this is also taking place in the 1930s. It says, spanning 3 generations, a novel of family and myth is told through a series of flashbacks that depict events of staggering horror set against a landscape of gem-like beauty as the Chinese battle both Japanese invaders and each other in the turbulent war years of the 1930s. It won major literary awards and inspired an Oscar-nominated film. So this one's been around for a long time. People seem to really like it, and I'm already getting like a ton of imagery out of it. He's talking a lot, or the author so far is referencing blood a lot at the beginning. And so what I want to do is take a step back and read like the Wikipedia page and maybe some articles that I can to learn more about that one before I dive in, because I don't think I know anything about the Chinese-Japanese invasions or really anything about the 2 cultures together. So I want to do that. The final book then that I am also going to be making more progress on is Where Research Begins. Where I'm at with this one, I am in chapter 2 and I am working through the keywords and primary sources portion of this book. The authors wanted a couple different things as you're working through it. The book is made to be interactive. You're supposed to do the little question and answer portions, the little tasks in each chapter. And I'm at the point now where I have my huge question list and it's still growing. I need to organize the questions into categories because they are kind of falling into different sections. And having people review them, my husband reviewed all of them and he said that anytime he thought of a question, he realized I would ask it like 2 or 3 questions down. And then he was like, I think you have enough to write 5 papers. And I was like, oh, that's helpful, but not really helpful. So what I need to do is now format my questions, get them more organized, figure out which lens or like which direction I want to go, because I need to write a new paper for a PhD application. And that's, I should have said that at the beginning. That's like why I'm doing so much reading and stuff, is because for PhD applications, you typically need a 20 to 25 page paper about that amount. And I haven't written anything since grad school. I mean, I co-authored an article that was published in a journal like 6 or 7 years ago, but that is not about anything to do with what I want to study, and I don't think that it was my best work because it was so long ago. So it's obviously not anywhere near as long. So what I want to do is figure out a topic, get an outline going, like all of that. I don't know that that will happen in the next week, but that's what I would like to move toward. The questions that I have, I think I can start piecing out as well into different categories and be like, yes, this is where I want to focus. This is something I need to learn more about. Then a different task that we had to do was to go through and use keywords and just search databases for resources and see what you get, and then look at those resources and actually start diving into them and determining what are the primary sources, what are the keywords that are flagged, keep track of that. And so that's what I started doing the other day. I started reading an article called Asian Dolls and the Western Gaze, and then the keywords for that one that were listed on the article right underneath I think it was underneath the abstract, were South Korea, dolls, dollification, and westernized gaze. And so then I use those keywords to search for more articles that could be related. And then I was also writing down some of the primary sources that I'm interested in pulling from and reading, and then also some questions. So I'm going to continue to use this mushroom journal that a friend gave me for my birthday as the research journal, and then also taking notes on my iPad, and then also reading a bunch. But if I could make significant progress in all 4 of these books over the next week, that would be amazing. I would love it if I could complete these 2 memoirs and have another chunk read of this one and have a decent chunk read of this one. But I'm not taking this online course through edX at any particular pace. It's just kind of like when I remember it exists, then I start taking, or I like move forward with the class content. I think it says like technically I won't have access after April 22nd, but I think that just means I have to click enroll again. I'm not doing any of the like essays or work or whatever because I'm not paying to get a certificate for the class. I'm just doing it because I think it's fascinating and I want to be exposed to more Chinese literature. But that's kind of the start where I'm at right now. It is currently Thursday. I am on my lunch break right now. I have you on my standing desk. I have some other tasks and one more meeting for the end of the day, and then my library is having a library book sale. And this is the first one since we moved back to Pennsylvania in 2019, so I'm so excited. So I want to go over there and like get a book. I don't even care what it is, but honestly, if I could find The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, that would be brilliant. Now I need to stop procrastinating. I have a couple things I want to do before I head back into work, aka wake up my computer and get back to work. But I wanted to get a vlog started. I have to finish editing the last one, and then hopefully I will actually remember to get footage, because my last vlog was shorter because I just completely forgot to record or just didn't. But I'm getting there. I'm learning. Okay, it is now Friday and I am super duper tired. Today I have some stuff I want to get done, so I might end up having coffee and an energy drink to kind of like give me the you can do it vibes that I need for today. I finished out work yesterday and then ended up going to my library book sale. They were having one, so I was excited to go. But the selection honestly wasn't that great. It was a lot of like Danielle Steele and J.D. Robb and a huge table of like Harlequin romances, so not really my vibe, which is totally fine. There were a lot of people there and a lot of people buying a lot of books. Awesome. I'm happy that money is going back towards the library, but just not really, couldn't really find much. But I did find one thing, and I didn't want to leave empty-handed and seem like a douche. So I bought one book for $1, and that's Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And this one I have not read before. It's obviously got the HBO or Hulu, the Hulu cover. I don't know anything about this one other than that it was really popular recently and they made a show. So I decided that, okay, I'll pay $1 for this one so I can read that one. Then, because it was part of the library, I went in and they have this big area up front where they have all new nonfiction, and I found 2 nonfiction that I have had my eye on that I'm so excited that I found, so I can read both and then decide if I want physical copies. The way that I do nonfiction reading, if I get them from the library, because I prefer to have a physical copy of nonfiction because I like to write all over them, is I use tabs. I just get them off Amazon or from Target. I use tabs, and as I find things that I like, I tab them off, and then if it's a book that I'm like really enjoying, I'll end up purchasing it and then transfer my tabs over. The 2 books that I grabbed then are Starry Field, a memoir of lost history by Margaret Joy I have to look that up. Lee. This one is a memoir that's supposed to be, it's a powerful memoir by a journalist who sets out on a search for her family's history, lost to the darkness of Korea's colonial decades. So it sounds like it's going to be amazing. I follow her on Instagram, have been watching for this book to come out. Very excited for it to be here. And then the other one I was so excited to find. This one I might end up just getting a physical copy because it is absolutely massive. This one is Not Your China Doll, The Wild and Shimmering Life of Anna May Wong by Katie G. Salisbury. And this one is all about Anna May Wong, who was I guess an actress and was alive in the 20s and 30s. And it just sounds like it's going to be really, really interesting and one that I'm going to enjoy. So I decided to grab both of these. Super excited to pick up both of them. This one, I think might fit also into the stuff that I'm like researching. We'll see how that one ends up going, how much I end up tabbing off, which I imagine is going to be a lot. I bought one of these packs of tabs from Amazon where you get like 17 different colors for like $4. So very excited to have. I have a ton of these now. I don't think I'll need tabs for a very long time unless I find cool ones. And I also gave my husband some because he reads as well. Okay, today I have some work stuff to get done. I didn't really get much reading done yesterday in terms of like reading for funsies. I did start the Welcome to, oh crap, what is it? It's like Hyun Dong Bookshop, something like that. I started that on my Kindle because my library copy finally came in on ebook. So I started reading that and I read the first like 20%. It reads very quickly. It's super cozy so far, about a woman that decided to open up a bookstore slash cafe. Really cute, really, really loving it. I'm just putting on my butts bracelet. When I was into making crafts a couple years ago, I got like all these bead kits and I made a bracelet that says butts. Just to give myself something to laugh at throughout the day. So my friend was talking to me yesterday and I was like, I'm in all these professional meetings and no one knows that I'm wearing a bracelet that says butts. So putting it to the man. But okay, more things that I want to get done today. Obviously reading. I want to finish up the section for chapter 2 in this one where research begins. I have not looked at my research that much. I did, oh, that's something I did do yesterday. I did do a couple of the sections of the China Book Club and then I started Red Sorghum Sea. So I want to finish up the China in 10 Words series of lectures or like little sections so then I can get into Red Sorghum. And I want to, did I call it Red Sorghum Sea? It's Red Sorghum, not Wild Sargasso Sea. Red Sorghum. But I also want to do some background research on that book first and the time period because so far they're talking about a lot of stuff that's like, I think I know what they're talking about, but I'm not positive. So I want to do some background research first and then dive into that one more. Was really enjoying it. Already highlighting a bunch of stuff. This like symbolism is really interesting so far. Okay, I owe you guys an update. My hair is a little bit crazy right now, but that's okay. I'm just gonna leave it how it is, whatever. I have some books that I have to show you guys, which I think I did mention in a previous part of this video that I was going to be having more books for a book haul. My husband and I, over the weekend, went to Commonplace Reader, which is one of my favorite indie bookstores in Yardley, Pennsylvania. And it's not like super duper far from us, so we love going over there. There's also a coffee shop down there that we love called Pretty Bird. There are some restaurants in that area, some stores. There is a bakery that we love, Kramer's Bakery. It's just like the cutest area. I bought a sticker and I shoved it in one of these books and now I cannot remember where. But I saw Commonplace Reader posted on Instagram that on Sunday, yesterday, they were having a book truck there for Book Smiles, which is a nonprofit organization. We actually met the guy that created the organization, and they're based out of South Jersey, and he was a teacher for like 30 years in the public school system, and one year he had a teenage girl as a student who had a young child, like 1 or 2 years old, and he asked her, like, what books are you reading to your kid? And she said that unfortunately she couldn't afford books, and he was like, that's not cool. Like, what the hell? Like, how, that's not how it should be. Not any shame towards her at all, just in general, like, that sucks. So he started this organization called Book Smiles that goes into book deserts and brings books to kids, which is amazing. And they were taking donations of any books except for like textbooks or reference books. So I went through my shelves and I grabbed, we had 2 huge tote bags full of books. It must have been like 40 books that I got rid of. I went through, and any books that I had just changed my mind, wasn't interested in reading, had been on my shelf for a long time that I hadn't read, or that I had an ebook version. So there are some books that I purchased so far this year, like earlier this year, that I donated because any like good quality books were being taken, and then what they're doing is they're trading adult books for kids books with, I guess, other organizations. I didn't ask a ton of information, but yeah, so we took all those books, donated a crap ton. I feel so much better. My office feels so much lighter having a lot of books gone. I'm definitely not a minimalist, as you can see, but it's just nice to have a lot of books go to a good place instead of sitting on my shelves. And if it's a book that like I read on my Kindle and really love, or a book that I decide in the future I really want a copy of, I'm grateful that I have the means to go purchase that book. So if it benefits a good cause, we'll always donate the books that I own. That was outside of Commonplace Reader, and then we love purchasing books from Commonplace Reader, so we went inside and I purchased 3 books. I couldn't find one that I was looking for, but that's okay. I might have to get that one online. But I got another Hiromi Kawakami, translated by Ted Goosen. This one is People from My Neighborhood. I have read another one of Kawakami's works, and I can't remember which one that was, but it's over on my shelf. So I'm very excited to have this one. This one is about a bossy child who lives under a white cloth near a tree, a schoolgirl who keeps dolls' brains in a desk drawer, an old man with 2 shadows, and one docile and one rebellious, and a diplomat no one has seen who goes fishing at an artificial lake no one's ever heard of. These are all people of my neighborhood. Oh, Strange Weather in Tokyo. That was the other book that I read from this author I got for Christmas. So very excited to have another one. I also finally have a copy of Severance by Ling Ma, which I'm very, very excited for. It's now much later in the afternoon, but I wanted to film an update. I read a lot of The Making of Asian America. As you can see, I'm about, I'm farther than I was. So this is the end of the book. So I'd say I'm like 2/3 of the way through it now. I'm into the section where Pearl Harbor has happened, and they're talking about all of the camps and internment camps and things that the United States and other countries created as a reaction that had no basis after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So that section is pretty long, so I've been making my way through that one. But I also have just been hanging out all day. I did some cleaning. I finally deep cleaned the kitchen again, organized some other areas of the house. Have been watching a ton of Lynn's vlogs because they're just very comforting, very cozy. I did some more work on the syllabus earlier, did some research on Asian American culture courses, and want to continue that research through this afternoon. My husband might want to go to the gym when he gets home. We will see. He's on his way home right now, so that's why I wanted to quick film an update, because I don't know, I just don't like filming when other people are around. Not that it matters, but I just prefer not to do it. But yes, have been getting a lot of reading done in this one, really, really enjoying it, and just need to keep working my way through all of the sections. Okay, I'll give another update. So it is Wednesday. It's about 12:30. I'm taking a break right now from work, but I wanted to give you an update on some reading. So I did some more reading in the Making of Asian America. I am now about halfway through the chapter on the Cold War, and that's the final chapter for part 3 of this book, and then it goes into part 4, which is moving into more like current times. So very much enjoying that. Also wrote down that I want to look into something called the War Brides Act of 1945 and 1947. I believe that was when US soldiers were allowed to bring their wives or spouses that were foreign born back to the United States. And that kind of goes into the bigger picture of things that I'm interested in looking at in a potential PhD program, of like white men that fetishize Asian women. Additionally, I finally started reading Flowers of Fire by Ha-Won Jung, and immediately, very first page where there are comments from people that have read the book, I found one for a book that I think is going to be very, very interesting and plays into what I'm hoping to research, which is called The Asian Mystique: Dragon Ladies, Geisha Girls, and Our Fantasies of the Exotic Orient. So I immediately ordered a copy of that book. It was like $6 on Amazon, so I went ahead and got a copy, and that will be coming by the end of the week, so very excited for that. What I want to write for my application essay is different than what I want to research overall. For my application essay, I think I've been talking about how I want to write something about Queer Asia, and I'm not entirely sure what yet, but I did get that book called Queer Asia, Queer Asias, that will be here next week. So I will be hopefully writing my paper based on what I'm reading in that book, and then also overall reading more about feminism in East Asian countries, particularly China, Japan, and Korea. But for the research into gay Asia or queer Asia, there's a lot of research into Hong Kong, Singapore, the Philippines, Thailand. So I'm going to be reading a lot of that research. I've started doing that just from like articles that I could find that were public access. So I will be continuing that. I think I'm going to wrap up this vlog here so that I can edit it and get it uploaded and then get started on the next one. This weekend, it is our friend's birthday and we're going to his house for game night, so I won't record any of that. I typically don't anyway. And then next week, I will be traveling for work. Nothing super exciting, but I will hopefully be able to get some footage from that as well, just like the traveling process again. And getting to see some colleagues that are across the country that I don't get to see that often, so that's very exciting. But I'm just going to be doing a bunch of reading. Oh, I should also say my GRE book got here. So what I did was I just went through and I tabbed off the different sections and then also the practice exams. So I'm not super worried about the like reading comprehension parts because that's the part that I've always done better at, because I've always been a big reader, but also because then in like going to college and grad school and stuff, I hope that that stuff is going to continue to be like my strong point. But I am worried a little bit about the math section just because it's been so long since I've really had to do any kind of math other than like basic math. So we will see how all of that plays out. But I've been getting a lot of reading done, really having a good time with it still, and I'm just going to continue hacking away at it. I think I also want to pull up the Accepted Society's like individual classes that they have for application process. They have, you can pay for a consultant to work with you on your application, but that's like $300, and I don't know if I want to pay that yet before going through the like individualized do this on your own version. So I want to try to do that because I do have a lot of questions. I don't know, like, you know, applications are due by the end of December. Do you start applying? Is earlier the better? Is it better to wait until the fall to apply? When should I start writing my paper? How much work should I be doing prior to even going into a potential PhD program? Like, obviously there's a chance that I won't get in. Like, I know that. But how much work should I be doing on the back end of like, okay, so should I set myself up to continue to have another year of independent research while I'm trying to apply or applying again? Like, I have so many questions and I don't know who to ask yet or where to get that information. So I want to go through that online course that they have. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I have some stuff I have to get done for work today. We might go to the gym later, but I'm not sure. So just kind of pushing through, enjoying this process. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.